Welcome to Dream Tale Sleep Stories. Tonight's reading is The School Exchange. Settle into your bed or sofa and let your shoulders, jaw, and eyelids grow heavy. Inhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, and sigh the air away, allowing the day to fade into quiet dark. With every soft inhale, you invite fresh English phrases. With every gentle exhale, stray thoughts drift farther off. Behind my voice flows a gentle theta wave melody, renowned for guiding the mind toward deep relaxation. Soon the music will shift into soothing alpha wave tones, carrying you toward a calm shoreline of dreams. Keep your eyes closed or follow the captions, whichever feels right. Simply receive the rhythm and resonance of the language. Deep in rest, tonight's phrases will take root like seeds, ready to bloom into stronger English skills with the morning light. When you feel settled, hold that unhurried breath and allow yourself to drift into the tale. The School Exchange begins now. And when the story's final line has faded, the music will linger a little longer, carrying you gently deeper into sleep. The School Exchange. Sarah Johnson pressed her face against the airplane window as the plane descended toward Tokyo. The city stretched endlessly below her, a sea of lights and buildings that seemed to go on forever. Her stomach was tight with excitement and nervousness. After months of planning and studying basic Japanese, she was finally here for her 3-month exchange program. At the airport, Sarah spotted a family holding a sign with her name written in both English and Japanese characters. The Tanaka family smiled warmly as she approached with her heavy suitcase. Mr. Tanaka, a quiet man in his 40s, helped with her luggage, while Mrs. Tanaka, a gentle woman with kind eyes, welcomed her in careful English. "Welcome to Japan, Sarah-chan," Mrs. Tanaka said, using the affectionate suffix that Japanese people often add to names. "We are very happy to have you in our family." Standing beside her parents was Yuko, a girl about Sarah's age, with shoulder-length black hair and bright, curious eyes. She would be Sarah's host sister and classmate at Kanagawa Prefectural High School. "Hi, Sarah," Yuko said in English, then switched to Japanese and back to English again. "I mean, konnichiwa. I'm sorry, I'm nervous about my English." Sarah laughed. "Don't worry, I'm nervous about my Japanese too. I think we'll help each other." The drive to the Tanaka house took them through busy Tokyo streets and then into quieter residential areas. Sarah watched everything with wide eyes. The convenience stores on every corner, the vending machines selling everything from hot coffee to cold tea, the narrow streets where cars somehow managed to pass each other with inches to spare. The Tanaka house was smaller than Sarah's home in California, but it felt warm and welcoming. Mrs. Tanaka showed her to a traditional Japanese room with tatami mats on the floor and a low table in the center. A futon was already laid out for her. "This will be your room," Mrs. Tanaka explained. "Please, make yourself comfortable. Dinner will be ready soon." That first dinner was an adventure in itself. The family sat around the low table on cushions on the floor. Sarah tried to use chopsticks while eating miso soup, grilled fish, rice, and pickled vegetables. She dropped her food several times, but the family just laughed gently and showed her different ways to hold the chopsticks. In America, what do you usually eat for dinner? Yuko asked in careful English. Sarah thought about her typical dinners at home: pizza, hamburgers, pasta, salad. Well, we eat a lot of different things. Pizza is very popular, and sandwiches, and actually, now that I think about it, we don't eat together as a family very often. Everyone is always busy. Mr. Tanaka nodded thoughtfully. In Japan, family dinner is very important. We try to eat together every day, even if we are busy. The next morning, Sarah's real adventure began. Yuko walked with her to school, explaining the route and pointing out important places along the way. The convenience store, where students often bought lunch. The small shrine where people prayed for good luck. The train station that connected their town to the rest of the region. Kanagawa Prefectural High School was much larger than Sarah's school back home. Students wore uniforms, dark blue jackets, and skirts or pants with white shirts and ties. Sarah had been given a uniform too, and she felt both excited and strange wearing it. When they entered the classroom, all conversation stopped. 25 pairs of eyes turned to look at the foreign girl. Sarah's face turned red as Yuko led her to the front of the room. "Class, this is Sarah Johnson from America," the teacher, Miss Watanabe, announced in English. "She will be studying with us for 3 months. Please make her feel welcome." "Hello," Sarah said in Japanese, bowing slightly as Yuko had taught her. "My name is Sarah Johnson. Please take care of me." The formal greeting felt awkward in her mouth, but the class burst into applause. Throughout the morning, Sarah noticed how different Japanese school was from American school. Students stood up when the teacher entered the room. They listened quietly during lessons and took careful notes. During the break between classes, several students approached her desk to ask questions in hesitant English. "Do you like sushi?" asked a girl named May. "How tall are American people?" wondered a boy named Hiroshi. "Is it true that American students don't wear uniforms?" asked another girl, Sakura. Sarah answered as best she could, sometimes in English, sometimes mixing in Japanese words she knew. The students giggled at her pronunciation, but not in a mean way. They seemed genuinely interested in learning about her life in America. Lunchtime was another cultural experience. Instead of going to a cafeteria, students ate in their classrooms. Most brought elaborate lunchboxes called bento, prepared by their mothers or themselves. Yuko's bento contained rice shaped like a cute character, vegetables cut into flower shapes, and perfectly arranged pieces of chicken and fish. Sarah had brought a simple sandwich and an apple, which seemed very plain in comparison. But when she opened her lunch, several students gathered around, fascinated by the thick sandwich with multiple layers of meat, cheese, lettuce, and tomato. "So big!" exclaimed May. "How do you eat it?" Sarah demonstrated by taking a large bite, which made everyone laugh. In return, Yuko and her friends shared pieces of their bento with Sarah, introducing her to foods she had never tried before. The days began to form a routine. Sarah attended classes, slowly understanding more and more Japanese. She joined the school's English conversation club, where students practiced speaking English with her, while she practiced Japanese with them. She helped them with pronunciation, while they helped her understand grammar and polite expressions. One afternoon, Yuko invited Sarah to visit a traditional temple with some friends. As they walked through the peaceful grounds, Sarah asked about the rituals she observed. People bowing, clapping, and making wishes. "Do you really believe your wishes will come true?" Sarah asked. Yuko thought carefully before answering. "Maybe not exactly like magic, but when we take time to think about what we want and what is important to us, it helps us focus on those things. And maybe that makes us work harder to achieve our goals." Sarah found this perspective interesting. In America, she had always thought of religion and spirituality as either completely real or completely fake. This middle ground, using ritual and tradition as a way to think more deeply about life, was something new to her. At home with the Tanaka family, Sarah began to appreciate the rhythm of Japanese daily life. Every morning, Mrs. Tanaka prepared a traditional breakfast of rice, miso soup, and grilled fish. Every evening, the family ate dinner together, sharing stories about their day. Even when Mr. Tanaka came home late from work, they waited for him. Sarah started helping with household chores, learning to separate garbage according to Japan's complex recycling system. She helped Mrs. Tanaka prepare meals, learning to make simple Japanese dishes. She even learned to fold the futon and arrange the cushions properly in her room. One evening, as Sarah was studying Japanese with Yuko, she received a video call from her parents in California. The time difference meant it was early morning there, and her parents were having breakfast before work. "How's everything going, honey?" her mother asked. "Are you eating enough? Are the people nice to you?" "Everything's wonderful, Mom," Sarah said. "The Tanaka family is so kind, and I'm learning so much. Not just about Japanese language, but about how people live here." Her father looked curious. "What do you mean?" Sarah thought about how to explain. "Well, like they do everything together as a family. They eat together, they clean the house together, they make decisions together, and at school, everyone helps each other. If someone doesn't understand something, other students explain it. No one tries to be better than everyone else." "That sounds nice," her mother said. "But remember, you'll be coming home in a few weeks. Don't get too attached." After the call ended, Sarah felt a strange sadness. She had been so focused on experiencing everything in Japan that she hadn't thought much about leaving. Now, with only a month left, she realized how much she would miss this place and these people. The school's cultural festival was approaching, and Sarah's class was preparing a presentation about international friendship. They had decided to create a display comparing daily life in Japan and America, with Sarah providing information about American customs and her classmates explaining Japanese traditions. Working on the project brought Sarah closer to her classmates. She spent afternoons with Mei, Hiroshi, Sakura, and others, comparing notes about everything from birthday celebrations to holiday traditions. She learned that Japanese students studied much longer hours than American students, but also that they had more respect for their teachers and took education very seriously. In America, do students really call teachers by their first names? Sakura asked, amazed. Sometimes, Sarah said. Depends on the school. But here, you're so polite to teachers. You bow. You use special language. You clean the classroom for them. Of course, said Hiroshi. Teachers work very hard to help us learn. We should show them respect. Sarah had never thought about it that way. In America, she had sometimes seen students argue with teachers or refuse to do assignments. Here, such behavior was unthinkable. The cultural festival was a huge success. Sarah's class presented their display to hundreds of visitors, other students, parents, and community members. Sarah spoke in Japanese about her experiences in Japan, and her classmates spoke in English about their dreams of visiting America someday. After her presentation, an elderly Japanese man approached her. "Your Japanese has improved very much," he said in slow, clear Japanese. "But more importantly, you understand our heart now." Sarah wasn't sure what he meant, so she asked Yuko to explain later. "He means you understand what's important to Japanese people," Yuko said. "Not just our language or our customs, but our values, like respect and harmony, and thinking about the group instead of just yourself." That night, lying on her futon and looking at the ceiling, Sarah realized the old man was right. When she had first arrived, she had noticed the obvious differences: the food, the language, the bowing, the uniforms. But now she understood deeper things. The way people considered others' feelings before speaking. The way they worked together instead of competing. The way they found time for beauty and ceremony, even in busy daily life. With 2 weeks left in her exchange, Sarah felt torn between excitement about seeing her family again and sadness about leaving Japan. She had grown close to the Tanaka family, especially Yuko, who had become like a real sister to her. One evening, Mrs. Tanaka was teaching Sarah to make origami cranes when she said, "Sarah-chan, you have become part of our family. We will miss you very much." "I'll miss you too," Sarah said, and she meant it deeply. "You've taught me so much, not just about Japan, but about what family can be." Mrs. Tanaka smiled. "And you have taught us about America and about welcoming someone different into our lives. This experience has been good for all of us." On Sarah's last day of school, her classmates presented her with a memory book filled with photos, drawings, and messages in both English and Japanese. Yuko had written a long letter about their friendship and how much she had learned from having an American sister. At the airport, saying goodbye to the Tanaka family was harder than Sarah had expected. Mrs. Tanaka hugged her tightly and pressed a package into her hands. "Japanese tea and some snacks," she explained. so you can remember the taste of Japan. Mr. Tanaka, who had been quiet and formal throughout her stay, surprised her by speaking in English. "You are always welcome in our home, Sarah. You are our daughter now." Yuko was crying as she hugged Sarah goodbye. "Promise you'll keep studying Japanese," she said. "And promise you'll come back to visit." "I promise," Sarah said, and she meant it. On the plane home, Sarah looked through the memory book and thought about everything she had learned. She had come to Japan expecting to learn about a different culture, and she had. But she had also learned about herself, about the kind of person she wanted to be, about the importance of family and community, about seeing the world from different perspectives. When she arrived in California, her parents were waiting at the airport with big smiles and a welcome home banner. The drive home felt strange. Everything seemed so big and spread out compared to Japan. The houses were huge, the streets were wide, and people seemed to be rushing everywhere in their individual cars. At home, her room looked enormous after living in the small Japanese-style room. She unpacked her suitcase, arranging the gifts and souvenirs she had brought back. The origami cranes, the photos with her Japanese friends, the small shrine bell that Yuko had given her. Each item held memories of her time in Japan. That night at dinner, Sarah's family wanted to hear all about her experiences. As she told them about school, about the Tanaka family, about the cultural differences she had observed, Sarah realized something important. Her time in Japan hadn't just taught her about Japanese culture. It had also helped her understand American culture in a new way. The biggest difference, she explained to her parents, isn't the food or the language or the customs. It's how people think about themselves in relation to other people. In Japan, harmony and group thinking are so important. Here, we focus more on individual achievement and personal freedom. Both ways have good points. Her mother looked thoughtful. "Do you think one way is better than the other?" Sarah considered this carefully. "I think," she said finally, "that understanding both ways makes you a better person. Now I know that I can be independent and follow my dreams, but I also want to consider how my actions affect other people. I want to have strong family connections like the Tanakas do." Over the following weeks, Sarah found herself changing some of her habits. She started eating dinner with her family more often, even when she had other things she wanted to do. She helped with household chores without being asked. She paid more attention to how her words and actions affected other people's feelings. She also kept her promise to Yuko about continuing to study Japanese. She enrolled in a Japanese language class at a local community college and found other students who had lived in Japan or were interested in Japanese culture. 6 months later, Sarah received a package from Japan. Inside were photos from Yuko's graduation ceremony, a letter about her acceptance to university, and a small Japanese calendar for the new year. Yuko's letter, written in both Japanese and English, talked about how the experience of hosting Sarah had inspired her to study international relations and maybe work for an organization that promotes cultural exchange. Reading Yuko's letter, Sarah realized that her exchange experience had been just the beginning of a lifelong connection to Japan and a lifelong friendship. She had not just learned about a different culture. She had become a bridge between two cultures, carrying the best of both with her wherever she went. That evening, Sarah called the Tanaka family using a video chat application. Despite the time difference, the whole family gathered around the computer to talk with her. They shared news about their lives, laughed about funny memories from her stay, and made plans for Sarah to visit again during her summer vacation. As she ended the call and prepared for bed, Sarah reflected on how much her life had changed because of 3 months in a foreign country. She had learned that the world was both much bigger and much smaller than she had thought. Bigger because there were so many different ways to live and think and be human. Smaller because underneath all the cultural differences, people everywhere wanted the same basic things: love, respect, connection, and the chance to share their lives with others. The exchange program had officially ended months ago, but Sarah knew that the real exchange, the sharing of cultures, ideas, and friendship, would continue for the rest of her life.